Okay, picture this. An ancient network of waterworks. So intricate, so comprehensive. It wasn't just sustaining a city. It was called the largest industrial complex before the Industrial Revolution.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite a statement.
Isn't it? And we're talking about the Shushtar Historical Hydraulic System in Iran. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a real testament to human ingenuity, carved right into the landscape.
Exactly. So today, we're taking a deep dive into this really remarkable engineering marvel. It's in Iran's Khuzestan Province.
Right.
And our main source, it's a great article from Kojaro, the travel magazine. It gives a rich overview of the history, the clever design of all the different parts, and why this ancient way of managing water is still so significant.
So our goal here is pretty simple, really. We want to cut through the maybe complex historical details and just understand the core brilliance of the Shushtar system.
Right. How did it work?
Yeah. How did it work? Why was it so important? And ultimately just appreciate it as this truly groundbreaking achievement. Think of this as your kind of express route to understanding a key moment in engineering history.
Okay, let's do it. Let's unpack this incredible story.
So it all starts in Shushtar, the city in southwestern Khuzestan Province. That's the stage for this massive undertaking.
And the fact it's recognized by UNESCO and as a national heritage site in Iran, that really speaks volumes about its impact, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And what hits you right away is just the sheer scale of the vision. You mentioned that quote from Madame Dulafoy.
Yes, calling it the largest industrial complex before the Industrial Revolution. It just puts its historical importance right there in perspective.
It really does. And the roots, they run deep, primarily Sasanian era, but there are hints it might be even older. Maybe Achaemenid foundations.
That's the thinking, potentially started by figures like King Ardashir I, then, significantly expanded by successors like Shapur.
So not built overnight.
Definitely not. It was a project that evolved, adapted over centuries. There were even later additions, restorations during the Qajar era, much later on.
If we just step back for a second, this Shushtar system, it's like powerful proof of how advanced ancient Iranians were in hydraulic engineering.
Absolutely. They weren't just, digging ditches to move water. They were masterfully managing it.
For everything, right? Drinking water,
irrigating huge areas of farmland, even powering industries back then.
Wow.
It wasn't just about survival. It was about, fostering growth and prosperity.
Okay, let's get into the heart of it then. The actual components, the nuts and bolts that made this whole watery network tick.
Right. We should probably start with the Band Mizan, the measure dam, or weir.
Which has a lot of names, apparently.
Right.
Bandi Kaisar, Shapuri, Dalakcha, Taraz, Kagan, even Muhammad Ali Shah.
Yeah, it's clearly a structure that's been important for a long, long time, recognized by different rulers. That collection of names kind of underscores its continuous importance and maybe different phases of upkeep or changes.
But its main job?
Its primary purpose was absolutely vital, dividing the Karun River, the big one, into two main branches.
The Shoya and the Gorgar.
Exactly. And what's really insightful here is that this division, it wasn't equal. It was a carefully calculated split.
Calculated. So they deliberately gave one branch more water?
Precisely. The Shoyan received twice the volume compared to the Gorgar.
They even had names for the shares, didn't they? Chehardang and Dodang.
Chehardangs, meaning 4/6 for the Shoya, and Nodanga, 2/6, or sometimes Masrakan for the Gorgar. This unequal split must have been based on, a deep understanding of what each branch needed to do.
And the dam itself, the Bandi Mizan, how was it built?
Well, the construction itself is a marvel. It's got this circular design built with precisely carved stones held together with strong mortar, right at the point where the Gorkar River splits off.
Okay.
And if you follow it along, you find this intriguing tower at its end, the Kola Ferrandi Tower.
Yeah.
But the genius wasn't just the structure. It had this clever mechanism built in to actually regulate the water flow between the two channels, so it could be adjusted.
Dynamic. Responsive.
Yeah.
Which brings us neatly to that tower, the Borje Kola Ferrangi, Frankish Hat Tower.
Right, an 8-sided tower sitting on a pretty substantial 4-meter base.
And even now, standing at 7 meters, you can still see the remnants of that careful stonework in its facade.
Yeah, but its original purpose.
Well, there are a few fascinating theories floating around.
Okay, like what?
Well, it raises this interesting question, what was this distinctive tower really for? Some think it was an observation post. Maybe for someone like Caesar of Rome, though that's debated.
Right.
Or perhaps for the Sasanian king Shapur himself.
Or maybe something more practical, like watching the workers.
That's another theory. Supervising the workforce on the dam, or maybe meticulously monitoring the river's water levels. Its location is interesting too. Now it's within 17 Shrivar Square at the end of Boulevard Street in Shushtar, a real landmark. Okay, moving on in the system. We have the Rodidas Kandi Gorgar, the man-made Gorgar River.
Yes, an artificial channel. It branches off the Karun at the Bandi Mazan, flows north past Shushtar.
And it was ordered by King Ardashir. That's incredible. Landscape scale engineering.
It really is. And the detail in the construction, it just speaks volumes about their skill. The riverbed itself was deliberately paved with stone.
Paved? Why?
Well, these stones were secured with metal fasteners, the idea being to prevent erosion and stop the channel from getting deeper over time. It shows real long-term thinking, maintaining this vital waterway.
So its job was like a main artery.
Pretty much. Supplying water to a whole network of smaller canals and tunnels that serve the city, doing various things, before eventually rejoining the other branch, the Shoryu, downstream at Bandikur.
Got it. Now, downstream from Bandi Mazang, but before the watermills, there's the Palebi Bandi Gorgar, the Gorgar Bridge Dam.
This one's interesting because it has 3 specific diversion tunnels built into it. Shar, Sekor, and Baliti. Quite evocative names.
And it's built right on the rock.
Exactly. It's seamlessly integrated with the natural terrain, built on existing rock, and those crucial tunnels were actually carved directly into the rock.
Clever. And its main function?
To maintain a consistent water level upstream, that was absolutely critical for the reliable operation of all the water mills located just downstream from it.
The water mills. And even though many aren't working anymore, the water still flows out.
It does, and it creates what are now these really picturesque waterfalls. That's a beautiful side effect of the original design.
You can see this at the Majmuaye Absharhava Ajiye Abi, the Waterfalls and Watermills Complex.
Right, south of the Poli Bandi Gorgar on Shariati Street. It's like this fantastic example of how something built for industry can just, evolve into natural beauty.
So that complex was a real hub.
Absolutely. Water channeled by the Bandi Gorgar into those 3 tunnels, Shar, Sakori, Politi, then distributed through smaller canals to power the mills.
Before cascading down as waterfalls.
Exactly. It's like a mini version of the whole Shushtar system right there. And it's worth mentioning, while most mills are quiet now, the Reza Gulab mill is apparently still operational, a living link to the past.
Incredible. Okay, let's keep going downstream on the Gorgar. Polaba Band Barayar Vanayeshka Zabian, the Borgiar Bridge Dam and Sabian Temple. This sounds like it had a dual purpose.
It seems so. Historically, it was set within a garden, getting its water from that Baliti tunnel we mentioned.
Okay.
What's interesting are the remnants on the eastern side, bits of canals, rooms suggesting maybe a larger structure was there once.
And the temple part?
Yeah, during the Safavid and Qajar periods, it actually served as a place of worship for the Sabians. So it highlights these different cultural layers in Shushtar's history.
Where exactly is that one?
It's near the Imam Ali Shrine in Poli Koshtarga, across from the Dukan Shams and Dukan Sheikh neighborhoods.
Right. Now, shifting focus a bit. Bandi Mahi Bazan or Bandi Kota Afarian. Fisherman's Dam or God-created Dam. It's a beautiful name.
Isn't it? This one sounds like it really uses the natural landscape.
How so?
Well, it's located between the Gorgar and Daryan rivers in the Mahi Bazan area, which they think was the ancient city of Dastova. And the dam itself is formed by a single natural rock formation.
Wow.
What's ingenious is how they built 3 walls within this rock formation, creating these control passages for the water. It's just a prime example of using what nature provided.
Very clever. Okay, let's go even further back in time. Maybe Achaemenid era. Galaye Salisil Castle.
Yes, this is considered the oldest part of the whole Shushtar water system. And its function seems to have gone beyond just water management.
It was defensive too.
Absolutely.
Right.
A key strategic and defensive spot for the city, but also perfectly placed to control the flow of the Daryan River.
What was it like originally?
Historically, it was a pretty substantial complex. It had a prayer hall, barracks, a tower, even a drum house and an armory.
And now?
Sadly, mostly just underground rooms and the Daryan tunnels remain. But still, it gives you a glimpse of its former importance.
Okay, speaking of the Daryan, let's talk about the Nari Daryan, the Daryan Canal itself. This sounds like another vital piece.
It really was a lifeline for the area. It branched off the Shoyi River, remember the bigger one?
And what did it do?
Several crucial things. irrigated the fertile Manab plain, supplied essential drinking water for the city folks, and even provided a direct water route to Salisal Castle.
So it flowed under the castle.
Seems so. Then it continued south, passed west of Shushtar, and eventually split into two branches further down, north of the Polybandi Lashkar.
And this one is also ancient. Achaemenid, Darius.
That's the belief, yes. Dating back to Darius. Shows how long this kind of water engineering has been happening there.
We absolutely have to mention the Polybandi Shadervan. The Shadervan Bridge Dam. It's even in Firdausi, Shahnameh.
It is. That alone tells you about its historical weight, its lasting impact.
And the Shahnameh says it was built by a captured Roman soldier.
That's the story, captured during Shapur's reign. It's located on the Shoyu branch, built using brick, stone, and mortar, the usual combination.
And signs of water mills nearby, too.
Yes, remnants of several mills were found nearby. Just reinforces how interconnected this whole system was. You can find what's left near the Azadigan Bridge just south of Bandi Mizan.
Okay, then there's the Bandikak, the soil dam. Sounds a bit less grand.
Maybe the name is simple, but its function was still important. It's outside the western city walls, on the Darien River.
And what did it do?
Its main job was to raise the water level. By doing that, it allowed water to be diverted through apparently numerous canals to irrigate the surrounding gardens. So crucial for agriculture in that area.
Sasanian again, probably?
Likely Sasanian origin, yeah. But it was restored in the Qajar period, so again, showing its ongoing value over centuries.
Now, the Polybandi Lashkar, the Lashkar Bridge Dam, this one sounds particularly well preserved.
It is. Considered the best preserved after the main Bandi Mizan, that really speaks volumes about its original construction.
Built with the same materials. Brick, stone, mortar.
Yep, that durable combo. And it was a vital link connecting Shushtar with villages to the south and the Asgar Makram area. Basically, a major gateway to the city.
Any features still visible?
On the southern side, you can still see remnants of 3 water mills. And there's a distinctive structure called a chartak, 4 arches on a rock at the northern end.
Where's this one located?
Just outside Shushtar's Lashkar Gate, near the Imamzadeh Abdullah Shrine.
We're really uncovering layer after layer here. Next up, Polyband Sharabdar, the Sharabdar Bridge Dam, south of Shushtar, on the Darien.
Right. This one's built from stone and mortar. Its role was connecting the military fortress of Koram with the northern bank of the Darien River.
And its age.
Interestingly, this one might be even older than some of the main Sasanian parts. Its origins are thought to be in the Parthian period.
Wow, so the history of water management here goes back even further.
It really underscores the long, continuous history of sophisticated engineering in this strategically vital region.
And finally, there's this collection of other bits and pieces, like the Pelikana, staircases.
Yeah, over 200 handmade stone steps, leading from the watermill area up to the residential parts of the city. They even had guard rooms built in.
Amazing detail. And something called Sika.
A recreational area, apparently at the western end of the waterfalls, accessible by a few hand-carved steps.
And a couple more dams, Bandi Dakhtar and Bandi Dara.
Bandi Dakhtar, the daughter dam, is north of Shushtar, where the Karun narrows. Sasanian, named because it's near the daughter's castle. And Bandi Dara is on the Gorgar River in the Mianab region.
And one more bridge, Poli Shah Ali.
Yes, on the Darien River, south of Shushtar again. It all just paints this picture of a really widespread, incredibly interconnected network.
Okay, so with all these amazing parts working together, what was the overall impact of the Shushtar hydraulic system? It must have been completely transformative.
Oh, absolutely. Transformative is the right word. First off, it ensured a remarkably fair distribution of water throughout the whole city. That's huge for social stability, economic life. It also acted as crucial flood control for the Karun River, which can be pretty unpredictable. Protected the city, the farmland.
And you mentioned something about cooling.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is particularly ingenious. It actually helped create a natural cooling system for homes. Cool air was circulated through these things called shovaduns.
Shovaduns.
Yeah, it's the local Shushtari dialect for basements and underground spaces. So the system basically provided a kind of ancient, natural air conditioning.
That is incredible foresight. Just amazing. And obviously, beyond the city comforts, it massively impacted farming and industry.
Precisely. It gave a reliable source of irrigation for huge areas of farmland, ensuring food security for the region. That's fundamental.
Right.
And the consistent power harness from the water drove all those water mills we talked about, essential for grinding wheat, producing flour, a cornerstone of the economy.
And historically, it sounds like it boosted trade and communication, too.
Definitely. The article points out it facilitated transportation, communication, commerce, making Shushtar a really significant and thriving regional hub for a long time.
Now, for anyone listening who's thinking, wow, I need to see this, the article has some practical info.
It does. It's conveniently right next to the historical part of Shushtar city. If you're coming from Tehran, the Karamabad-Andimeshk freeway is the way to go.
Easy to find once you're there.
Seems so. Clear signposts, and apparently the locals are very helpful in guiding visitors.
How long would you need to see it properly?
The suggestion is around 2 to 3 hours. That should give you enough time to explore the main areas of the complex.
And places to stay if you want to linger.
Yeah, the article mentions a couple of traditional hotels. The Tabib House Hotel and the Sarabi Shushtar Traditional Hotel. Might be nice to stay over, see the site at different times of day.
And it sounds like there's loads more to see nearby, too. Traditional market, mosque, crypts.
Absolutely. The traditional market, the Jame Mosque, the Shushtar crypts, which sound intriguing, and the Mustofi House. A visit to the hydraulic system could easily anchor a wider exploration of this really fascinating area.
Yeah, gives you that context, doesn't it? Seeing the system not just on its own, but as part of this living historical city.
Exactly, part of a rich and enduring urban landscape.
Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive on the Shushtar Hydraulic System, let's just quickly recap the key takeaways. We've seen this Sasanian-era marvel, maybe even older,
Right.
demonstrating this extraordinary ingenuity in water management. Not just one dam, but this incredibly complex, interconnected network.
Designed to serve so many needs: drinking water, irrigation, industry, flood control, even that amazing cooling system.
The real aha moment here, I think, is just recognizing the level of advanced engineering knowledge and the sophisticated societal organization that must have existed back then in ancient Persia.
To even conceive of something like this, let alone build it and maintain it, it's staggering. This wasn't just, fixing a leaky pipe. This was proactively managing resources for an entire city and its agricultural backbone.
And its relevance today, it's really striking, isn't it?
Absolutely. The Shushtar system offers these enduring lessons in sustainable water management. That's a challenge that's more critical now than ever. It's just this powerful, inspiring legacy of ancient engineering brilliance.
So maybe the final thought for you, the listener, is this. How can the principles we see in ancient innovations like Shushtar, how can they still inform our modern approaches to engineering, to managing resources?
Yeah, think about other amazing historical sites, maybe ones that aren't as well known, and consider the profound importance of preserving these incredible testaments to human ingenuity. They're not just relics, they could hold clues, maybe even blueprints for a more sustainable future.